I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
We are working class nerds.
Cue the intro. That's right, we are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is, I have no idea what day it is, but I know it's December 11th, 2020, and you can find this. I watched The Mandalorian On Time podcast on Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, blah, 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 everything. You can come watch me fail and win once in a while at video games at twitch.tv/MarcusB814. Also, too, you can find the both of us idiots on Twitter. I am at MarcusB814.
I'm Matt Nickvern, that's Nickvern, and this week's episode, it's a bonus episode, and we're talking about The Mandalorian through Chapter 15, and for those of you who are normal people and count it the normal way, that's Season 2, Episode 7, and all of the Lucasfilm updates that we got via Twitter yesterday about all of the crazy new shows and things that are happening with Lucasfilm and Star Wars and all the things that we love and care about. Marvel. I didn't pay attention to Marvel. I just care about Star Wars.
Yeah, thank you.
So anyways, joining us today is friend of the show, Joey Fetta, impromptu guest that we didn't realize was going to be a guest until 30 to 40 minutes before we were going to record.
You asked to record at my house.
That's true.
Yeah, so that is true. The other thing too is he's our resident Star Wars Legion painter.
That's true.
No, figure painter.
Do that. I was just doing
finger painter. He's a finger painter.
He does paint the fingers even. He paints the whole figure and the fingers.
And can we not forget that this is episode 90?
This is that's a lot of episodes.
That's crazy. We've come a long way.
We've come, and we still have a long way to go.
Anyway, sorry, Fetta, you here?
I'm here. Ready to talk about some Star Wars news in general, covering the entire span of the galaxy, far, far away.
But not so far away.
No, hopefully in the near future.
All right, so what have you been up to, Mr. Fetta?
A bunch of stuff. Mostly school. School's different with COVID, this whole thing. So getting through that. Semester just ended actually this morning. Aside from that, fun stuff. Painting with my fingers. The fingers of Star Wars Legion miniatures. So I've been doing that quite a bit. And playing Star Wars Squadrons. I understand that's something that neither of you two really do. So that's a pretty fun game. I actually built a whole flight simulator thing about it because I apparently have too much time on my hands.
No, it just means you don't have kids yet. And I can't play that because I'll get sick. That's it. Because I'm a complete wuss when it comes to all those super fast turns and all that stuff. I get sick.
I made Nick try it and he got sick too, but I don't know if that's just you guys or what's going on. But I have a blast with the game.
It's our Greek blood. What can I say?
We just get motion sickness. The Greeks must have the world's worst Air Force because we all get motion sick. But
anyway, well, all I know is I saw the pictures. My favorite Star Wars Legion minis that you have are definitely the destroyer droids or droidicas. By far my favorite so far of what I've seen that you have.
Well, I appreciate it. You got to come check them out in person, though. That's the real kicker.
Well, so I would totally like to. It just what I've realized about life with kids and being self-employed is that the only time I get to myself is 9:00 p.m. at night and on. And by then I'm so beat that I just want to go on my computer and play some games and sleep the rest of the night away. Anyway, Nick, what have you been doing?
So I made some pretty substantial progress in my nerdiness here. First off, I finished my book that I've been listening to, Thrawn Ascendancy, which is pretty legit.
That's the first of the new trilogy, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I listened to that. Yeah, it was
it's a
good.
it's a prequel. And it shows how Thrawn like comes up in the ascendancy before he goes to the Empire, which is pretty legit. Um, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I wonder, and this is wonder where this trilogy ends. I wonder if he gets exiled on a planet or like left on the planet, and that's when he gets found by the Empire.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's got to be something like that, right? Because obviously from the original trilogy of Thrawn books, I should say, we know that Thrawn eventually goes to the Empire as a cadet and then works his way up, etc. And then he's a Grand Admiral by the time we see him in Rebels, and he's a Grand Admiral by the time we see him in The Mandalorian too. But he's got to leave the Ascendancy or get kicked out or something happens to where he leaves, right? And there's definitely a lot of like political things in the Ascendancy where people don't like him. So, I can kind of see where that's gonna blossom into some more conflict for him later. But I'm interested to see where this goes.
Um, I'm eager to read the next one or listen to it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And just speaking of books, Nick, you know what I started listening to again?
What?
So, the Darth Bane series.
I before you said that, I knew that's what you were gonna say.
So I had a couple credits on Audible because nothing is coming out now until January 5th. On January 5th, the whole world goes upside down for books, and so
What do you mean?
I
Oh, is that when the High Republic
High
stuff comes
Republic,
out?
yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
shit!
I've called my local comic book store, and I'm already on the list. And I told them I want every single variant copy of issue 1 of the High Republic. And he said I'm booked for all 6. So
Sweet.
I'm pretty excited for that. And I told him I want 2 copies of the normal version because one of them I'll read and one of them I'll never ever read. It'll
Yeah.
just go into its sleeve and just sit there for life.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am. But anyway, the other thing is the first time I read or listened to the Darth Bane series. So here's life hack: if you don't have Audible and you want to listen to the YouTube Darth Bane series, go to YouTube, type in Darth Bane book. You can listen to the whole thing, but then you download, I think it's like VCR, VLR or something. It's like a conversion software. You put the link to the YouTube thing in. It takes all of the audio, converts it to MP3. You can save it and load it on your phone. And now you just got a free book. Boom. You're welcome.
Oh yeah. VLC is the name of the video converter.
Yes. So it'll take all the YouTube files, or even if like you found like a dope DJ mix that you wanted to listen to,
Mm-hmm.
you can download it from that way, from YouTube, and then be able to load it onto your phone because it'll save in like your music library, which is
Right.
pretty sweet. So anyway, listening to it again, it's so dope. But anyways, go ahead, Nick. I know you
So
got one.
I definitely got more. So I also was that today? Yeah, it was today. So just a quick backstory on what I was doing generally today. So I knew Feta wanted to watch The Mandalorian with me when I went over his house.
Did you guys hold hands?
Yes, we did.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect.
Snuggled on
um,
the couch a little bit, It was nice.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. He kept moving my hand to his crotch, but I held true. Like, I'm Greek, but I'm not that Greek, Anyways, back at the race. That's funny if you know the Greek jokes. So I finished Rebels is the point I'm getting at this morning before I went over Fetta's, because the last episode's 45 minutes and it is so good. It's very satisfying the way it ends. Well, not really. It ends on a cliffhanger, but it's satisfying knowing where our characters are going to be because of stuff we learned in The Mandalorian, basically. But it's awesome. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I will say if you're someone who's never watched Rebels before, the first season is definitely slow. The second season is much better, and it picks up dramatically right at the end of the second season. And then seasons 3 and 4 are sprints, so like they're really easy to watch. It's like all action all the time.
Yeah. So I finished the first 2 seasons, and you're absolutely right. Like the last 3 episodes of season 2, it really finds its stride.
Yeah,
I want to say like the first season, I think they really tried to make it like a pure kids show.
right.
and they were like, we're going to do this way so we can appeal to everybody. But then they realized like that's not what Star Wars is.
Right.
And it really started to pick up speed. And I'm not spoiling anything with Rebels right now,
Mhm.
but the last episode of season 2, the moment between two people,
Is incredible.
yeah, like I was just like, oh my God. It was like there was a moment of clarity, and I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah. Especially because of the ending of Clone Wars season 7, the new
Yes.
tying the two together.
Yes.
Basically, those two scenes mirror each other, essentially.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But
And I can't wait to see more of that, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
how many episodes were season 3 and season 4 of Rebels?
Season 3 is 22. It's the same as 1, 2, and 3 are all 22 episodes, and then season 4 is 16. Or sorry, 15. But the last episode 15 of season 4 is 45 minutes, so it's extra long. So it's basically 16 episodes.
That's pretty sweet.
It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Just like commit to watching the first season, and then after that, it's really easy to keep going, I would say.
Well, it's funny is with the Mandalorian stuff that's been going on, I actually listened to a couple of podcasts just to hear like their opinion of like these bigger Star Wars podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them had Ezra on it, and they were hinting like he was coming back, but obviously he wasn't going there.
Yeah.
But it was kind of cool to hear his voice and hear him talk about Rebels. And he mentioned stuff in Rebels about like scenes and stuff, but I'm not there yet.
Right.
So I
Comment.
can't, yeah, like I don't know what they're like. Have no idea what they're talking about because I really have no idea about Rebels,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. And everybody always says to me, how do you go this long without getting spoiled? And I said, anytime I see something, I just shut it off.
Yeah. How do you do you remember anything that he talked about that you didn't know what the heck he was referring to?
Something about like a time, like it sounded to me like it was like the Marvel like time skip,
Okay.
like where they go back in time. Like he was talking about that, and then he was talking about um a part with Darth Maul,
Yeah.
which at that point I didn't see it yet.
Oh, okay.
So like, and then they were talking about like Sith holocrons and stuff, and so basically there was a bunch of parts that they mentioned that I had no idea about, but now I know some of it, so I know something's to come. But like
Yeah.
when they start
Basically,
talking about,
that
go
that
ahead.
all that all comes in. Well, the mall stuff is not that late. It's the mall obviously Maul's in it, but so that pops up earlier. But basically, the stuff he's referring to is like the end of everything. And
Right.
you know what's interesting? Did you notice? Okay, that scene where that you're referring to. I'm gonna keep it vague and spoiler free. How the heck?
Wait, but wait, how
What?
many years ago did it come out?
A bunch. 2 years ago, I think was season 4.
Like I think we should be able to talk about season 2
Yeah, that's true.
because
Okay.
I've seen it. Like I've
Joey has.
seen it.
I know Joey's not seen it though.
Oh, then never mind. We're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Joey, are you still there?
I'm still here. I'm just
All right.
enjoying the conversation.
All right.
No, I was gonna say keep it vague and spoiler free. So the epic scene you're talking about at the end of season 2 between those two people. Did you notice like how the heck did both of those people walk away like scot free out of that? Did that like dawn on you? Like because they show them in trouble essentially, and then it just shows them two walking away later at the end of the episode.
I think they helped each other.
Okay, so what precisely happens gets clarified at the end of season 4.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I
look
will say.
forward to that. Yeah.
Yes. So I watched that this morning, so that's why I was like, oh, and like for me, I was like, well, that's cheesy. Like they don't show you what the heck happened, and then I watched it this morning and go, oh, and my mind kind of got blown. So, anyways, that I finished Rebels. Can't recommend it highly enough. I honestly, since in the week since we were last recorded, I have not played any video games, largely because my sister Ariel's laptop exploded because it's a Mac, and
Junk.
yeah, and she had finals week this week and was applying to grad school, so she needed a computer, obviously. So I said, "Here, I'm just playing video games on mine. Just use mine." So I
Oh,
have
you
been
know what?
laptop free.
Yeah. So hearing that somebody's applying to grad school, you know what I hear? Student loans.
Don't even get me started. Oh my god.
Anyway, um, the well, just for the record, okay. So every week, Nick gets a text from me, probably like Tuesday, that says bonus episode question mark, and he's always like, sometimes he's like, yeah, sometimes he's like, no, sometimes I just do it anyway, even if he's not there, and I'll grab somebody to come talk with me.
Right.
But this week,
What did I call
yesterday
you?
happened. Yeah, yesterday he's like, dude, let's record right fucking now. Like right now, right now, right now. It must have sent me like 100 text messages that said right now. And I'm like, dude, like I'm still at work. And he's like, I don't care. Let's go. And he's like, did you hear? No, I didn't hear.
Like, go look
He
at
told-
Twitter.
Yeah, he told me to wake the fuck up. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I stopped and looked and I saw it. And we ended up settling on today. But this bonus episode is brought to you by Nick V. Anyway, so you didn't play any games.
Negative. What did
Okay.
you do this week? I know you definitely played games.
So, okay. My streaming schedule is being thrown all around because so my main content I stream obviously is raiding, right? Operations in SOTOR. So since the Saturday and Sunday night teams are gone, I have decided that, I'm going to keep my Saturday night streams because I really enjoy Saturday nights. I don't do anything. I'm like middle old and I got kids, so like do I have to explain what middle old is?
I don't think we explained it on the air.
Okay, so middle old is I'm not old, but I'm
Yeah.
not young anymore. I'm in that weird transition. It's like when you're 18, you're like excited to be an adult, but you can't really do anything. So like you're a middle adult. You know what I mean? Where when you get to the age of me right now, you're kind of in that weird spot because you can completely like understand old, and you can still like I can still understand young and I can still understand old, but like I'm caught in the middle of it because I'm not old, but I'm not young.
Right.
You know what I
You're
mean?
you're middle old.
I'm middle old. So anyway, so I'm my definite new schedule is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Okay. Very nice.
So yep, and then I filled in for a team on Monday night. They were working on hard mode, the Queen. Oh shit. The Hive Mountain Queen on Osis. Anyways, I've never cleared it as the tank. So that was pretty fun to do that. It was a really fun team. Shout out to Lauren and the Tuscan City Raiders. Actually, I started this team maybe a year ago.
I was
2
gonna
years
say,
ago.
didn't you? Yeah,
Yes.
did you start Tuscan City Raiders?
Yes, and I had to leave because just life was too crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they needed a fill, and it's on the pub side, and I mean, okay, I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't so bad, but we're just gonna be clear here that the pub side sucks. Okay,
Joey,
like,
do you know what he's referring to by pub side?
of
So
course it does. The
No-
Republic
so there's two different like essentially
Factions?
Are you
factions.
talking
Yeah.
slang here?
What?
Is that slang? This you're talking to a guy who does not play SWTOR.
Yeah. So it's
pub side.
pub side and imp side is the Republic side and the Imperials side.
Oh, so good guys. Got it.
Yeah.
The good guys are the imp side. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
Busted.
yeah, so they so anyway, so I filled in for him. There, it was actually a lot of fun. It was really lighthearted. I enjoyed it. Great group of people. I might come back on Monday. I don't know if I'll stream it every week, just because that means I'll be streaming 4 days a week, and I don't think that's what I want to do.
That's a lot
But
of
anyway,
strength.
yes, this Saturday night, which is tomorrow, which probably is today if you're listening to it on Saturday, or it's already passed, I'm going to stream the new story content. I have not done it yet for SOTOR. I've been waiting to do it on stream, and I've been so busy. So I'm going to do that tomorrow night. Also, too, this week I cleared Nightmare Corruptor 0 for the first time.
Woo!
I'm really, really fucking happy about that. So now we're on to Brontes, and that's going to take some serious long time prog, but that's okay. It's progress. And I really, really, really like tanking. and maybe that's like the outside normal world Marcus coming into play because business owner and control the fight and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe that has a part of it. And the other side of it is I think I'm really enjoying it again because I'm not the raid leader. Like when you run a team, like you have all the stresses of finding subs and doing all those things. But when you're not, all I have to worry about is me and me.
Yeah, that's your job.
And coordinating right and coordinating with the other tank and making sure we're conversating the whole time because shout out to Doritos, him and I talk all night
Yeah.
in whispers back and forth about like what's going on or if I think I'm fucking something up, blah blah blah. Anyways, the last thing is I'm having a really hard time uh not buying Cyberpunk 2077. And I know we're gonna deep dive into Star Wars after, so there's not going to be any time for this.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll talk
I
about it next week.
well, I really want to play it,
No,
but I
I do
can't.
too.
Yeah, but I can't play it.
Why?
The benchmarks on this game are insane. So my Titan from 2016 is, and I stream and I play in 4K. Like my card with that game, even on medium, I'm gonna get like 15 frames a second, and with cryptocurrency being back on like the hotness to like because cryptocurrency went through the roof
Yep.
in value again. So people are crypto mining like crazy. So all the cards are gone again and they're like triple the value of what they're like if they're selling for $700 they're selling for like 1500 now because all of them all the crypto people are buying the cards again.
Right. Damn.
And with brand new video cards being out there's no cards anyway. So now I'm kind of screwed. So I may not buy this game, even though I really want to play it because it's beautiful. Because I'm sorry, I don't play on a PC to play on low. Like people, like I don't understand potato. And if you play on potato and you take offense to this, I'm really sorry. Go buy a PlayStation or an Xbox. There's 0 point to play a game to make it look like you're playing from 1986. Like nobody wants to go back to playing Pong.
I could not agree more. Everybody yells at me about my computer setup, and I'm like, my game keeps crashing. My game keeps crashing. That's because I push it too hard, and you have to play it to be beautiful. Otherwise, don't own a PC. So, like, there you go.
So
I
so for the
completely agree.
most part, so for the most part, my computer has decimated everything up till now. But now like my card's age is really starting to show because I've been playing all the new games up until like this year on ultra, no problem, 0 problem. But when you're streaming it and you're putting one of the like the brand new games on it on ultra, my card's really starting to show. So it's time for an upgrade, but I can't get it. Cyberpunk now, I looked at the benchmarks for my card in 4K on medium, and it was like 15 frames a second.
Jesus.
So like there's no point to me buying this game right now. And how about this? My Cyberpunk on in 4K with a 3090, which is the best card on the market right now, doesn't even get 60 frames a second.
Wow. Really?
Yes. You're going to have to wait for the next generation of cards in order to play that game in 4K at 60 frames or more in 4K. Stupid, right?
That's insane.
It's basically another crisis from
Yeah.
back in the day.
Right.
It's just so that's why. And how about this? If you have a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, like the game barely is running on those systems.
I know. They had to dumb it down to like the graphics look awful in order to get it to run properly on those. Which is like I get it, but still,
Well,
it's a crazy game.
let me ask you both this opinion. If you're CD Project Red, right?
Yeah.
And I know they were slated for this December of 2020. Why not wait to release the game in summer or fall of next year?
Just don't put it out for the old systems.
Don't put it out for the old systems because the reviews are going to come in and people aren't going to buy it because your game doesn't run. Like clearly the technology of today isn't enough to support that game fully, and I understand why they do it. They want to be the benchmark. Like the first person to run 60 frames at 4K is going to be like a hero to these people.
Yeah,
But like I don't know. For me, I'm just like, why would you, or just don't even release it for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4? And I understand why they're doing it because they're trying to make as much money as possible. I personally would have waited.
Well, I guess Joey, feel free to weigh in on this too. I didn't mean to cut you off if I did. Um, I guess there's been a lot of backlash on them pushing it back because it's been delayed like 4 or 5 times or something for bugs and stuff, or just trying to make it perfect. And then it came out and still had some bugs like the clothing glitch and whatever. But I guess they really only released it because there's so many people like being like, "What the hell? Just release the game already!" Like, there's a lot of public backlash to release it. So I think if left up to CD Projekt Red, they probably wouldn't have released it for another year or something. They would been perfectly content to just keep tinkering and making it perfect. You know,
Yeah, I do.
I mean,
because they go ahead.
you got to think about current events too. Like, what do people need in 2020 where they're all stuck inside? Something to play with, even if it's buggy, even if it's not perfect, it's going to sell like hotcakes, and we can see that, you know. So maybe
That is
that could
true.
have been part of the kind of almost rushed feeling, even though it has been delayed 5, 6 times. And people have just wanted it and wanted it and wanted it, and I think that played a lot to their strength and success, because as you can say, you like want to play the game. So maybe that has something to do with it too. Not always just tech specs.
Well, I am actually proud of them for pushing it back. I am an avid believer if it's broke, don't release it
Mm-hmm.
because you're better off to wait and let people be mad. They're just whiny little bitches.
I agree completely.
You know what I mean? Like, stop whining. Like, because they're going to be the first ones that when it's buggy, they're going to say, this is the worst game ever. They should have delayed it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? People are going to cry ever. Like when SOTOR has an update and it's in the patch is taking like 3 hours longer than it's supposed to like upload and get ready to the thing. People are like, give us free sub time because you suck at your job. And I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like you want the game to be right. And just people are so toxic, but I do agree with Feta and like you make a valid point. They fell into a pandemic, which nobody obviously wanted the pandemic, but because of it, I read an article that like video games were like a third of the economy, or
It was crazy how
like a
how quick any game was selling, even old
yeah.
stuff.
Well, when this shit went down, you couldn't buy a Nintendo Switch. The cheapest I saw a Nintendo Switch in March was like $700 on Amazon. Like you couldn't buy a Nintendo Switch.
That's so crazy.
Gone. And like games, like what was that game that came out for the Switch?
Animal Crossing?
Yes. Like if that game didn't get released when it did, it wouldn't have been as big as it was.
Absolutely not.
I don't know
People
about that. Hang on, hold up. You're talking to somebody who plays a lot of Animal Crossing.
yeah, but I understand that, but okay, I'll give you an example. Before, if there was no pandemic, it would have sold like crazy, but it wouldn't have been a craze like it was. Like you couldn't even go to a store and get that game.
Okay, that's fair. You had people that were diehard Animal Crossing. I need a new game, but
Right.
it definitely. All right, fine. I'll give in on this point here, where you're saying that it was definitely inflated because of everybody being stuck inside.
Yeah, because everybody wants to feel good, and that game is a feel good game. Nobody I know plays that game and gets mad at it.
Nope. I don't know. Have you ever gone fishing in Animal Crossing, dude? The amount of sea bass is ridiculous. I could go on for hours. It's ridiculous.
Well, okay, but again, you're fishing in a game and you're not like getting murdered by anybody and like getting somebody's not using the dog rapist double shotguns in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, okay? In Animal Crossing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Fair.
Right. So, but what I'm saying is, I'm sorry, I had to bring it back, man. I so
The
I was
dog
unpack.
rapist.
Okay, so I sidebar here. So I have a bunch of Penny Arcade comic strips. My favorite one was Gabe and Tycho, the main characters for Penny Arcade. If you don't know Penny Arcade, Google Penny Arcade comic.
Yeah.
and it's a web comic. And it was these two guys, and it was when Modern Warfare 2 first came out.
Yep.
And it was they were sitting on the couch playing it over Xbox Live, and one of the I think it was Gabe was getting destroyed by the double shotgun guy, and Tycho called him a dog rapist because he was using the double shotgun. And if anybody played Modern Warfare 2, you know exactly how mad you used to get when you got killed by that thing.
Yeah, because it was the 1887 shotgun, and you could have them akimbo, so you'd have one in each hand, and you could shoot maybe like one shot a second, but like it was an insta kill from so far away at launch that you could shoot somebody like halfway across the map and they're just insta dead.
Yes.
Like not aiming down sight at all. It was just if they're in front of you, they just died. It was the most broken gun in a first person shooter I think I've ever come across.
Right. And
Still to this date.
right. So it's just one of those things that like you just oh my god.
What are we talking about? Animal Crossing?
Oh yeah, so back to Animal Crossing. So with the pandemic of what happened,
Yeah.
I believe that Animal Crossing was bigger than it ever would have been. I'm not saying that the diehard players wouldn't have played it. It just was bigger than it was. How about this? My guild, AIE, they made their own Discord channel because of Animal Crossing. That's how big it was during the the hardcore lockdown pandemic. It was crazy. Like I can understand people that like it, but not to the caliber that they were.
I think that's a fair point to say.
You could make that claim about anything, though.
Well, I did. I was talking about like how you couldn't buy a Switch, Animal Crossing, any game, and you like you were saying that any game, anything during that time was going to be big because people just needed stuff to do.
True.
Anyways, in
Marcus.
SOTOR news,
6.2 has dropped Wednesday with some creepy crawlies.
Yep. So there's been some bugs. I knew there was going to be some problems, and I was so busy that's why I'm just letting them like they released a patch today. I think there will be another patch tomorrow. So by the time I play it, it'll be all fixed on Saturday night. And then in AIE news, December 18th, which is next Friday.
Wait, next Friday? Did you say next Friday?
God. Yes.
Is that December 18th?
Oh my God.
Isn't that the day for Mega? That's the monthly Epic Guild activity.
So we're going to be doing some Life Day stuff, hugging some Wookiees, throwing snowballs, and then probably do some flashpoints. There's just something, maybe even some open world PvP. It's going to be really, really lighthearted because it's a week before Christmas. And, you know, I know some people are traveling, some aren't. But if you're around, December 18th, 9 p.m. Eastern, Starforge server, best server, come do Mega with us. See, it doesn't sound right when I say it.
No, you have to say Mega. That's the monthly Epic Guild activity. That's Friday, December 18th. Enjoy all of the Life Day. And if all this sounds fun to you, go to aie-guild.org, jump in the Discord, and ask for a guild invite. Whether or not you play Star Wars The Old Republic or any of the other games we play, and we mean any of the other games we play. If you play Animal Crossing.
See, now we got to get Fetta in the Discord.
Exactly.
I'll head up the Animal Crossing guild. We'll just go fishing for hours on end. Doesn't matter.
It'll be like episodes of Deadliest Catch. Them complaining and smoking cigarettes in the game and just fishing for sea bass.
Dude, it'll be freaking lit. Freaking lit.
Actually, Joey, you've got your laptop or desktop in front of you. Just go to aie-guild.org and get the Discord information right now.
And play any game that you guys play.
Yeah, you can hang out with us while you play any games. Call of Duty, Animal Crossing, Star Wars: Old Republic, any MMO. Come on down.
And even if you don't, you can jump into the Nomads channel and start talking about whatever other game you play, and somebody is bound to play that same game. That's the craziest thing. I saw somebody mention a game that I haven't heard of in a while, and they're like, "Hey, I'm playing that too." And next thing you know, they're in the Nomads chat channel, chatting away, playing this game that's not popular or just a rando game. Anyways, Nick, you got to use the bathroom?
Of course, I always do. So we'll be right back.
Geez, Nick, hurry up. We're trying to finish this podcast.
And we're back. So today we're discussing The Mandalorian Chapter 15, and then after, all of the announcements that came out on Twitter about Star Wars and upcoming Star Wars shows coming to Disney+.
Hooray!
Whoop, whoop.
Hooray!
So, for starters, we got... What are you saying, Marcus?
I'm singing the Mandalorian theme, but I'm going side to side from the mic, so you're only getting pieces of it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say...
This episode was called The Believer.
The Believer.
And I don't really understand what the believer means, but
no, I didn't understand that either. The tragedy was pretty straightforward. The Jedi was pretty straightforward. The heiress was pretty straightforward, talking about Bo-Katan. But yeah, I don't understand the Believer.
oh shit.
What are you laughing at?
Just remind me later to tell you guys about Padme and how I was an idiot last night.
Okay.
So I kind of felt like, fuck it. So last night, Carrie and I are sitting on the couch. We're watching TV.
Okay.
Well, she's watching some bullshit TV that I don't care about, but I was like, I won't
Bachelorette?
play on my computer. No, I don't know what it was. I don't care. It was some stupid like firefighter show. Like, but it doesn't matter. So, anyways, so like my ultimate crush in the whole wide world is Natalie Portman. And she comes on the screen as a commercial, and it's just like her face, like really close to the screen.
Mhm.
And she goes, "What would you do for love?" And I, in my mind, was saying it, but it also came out of my mouth. And I said out loud, I was like, "I would do anything to love you." And Carrie goes, "What did you just say?" I was like, "Oh, I was just talking to Padme." And she goes, "But what did you say?" And I was like, "I told her I would do anything I could to love her." And she goes, "What does that even mean?" So she rewinded it and saw it, and she goes, "What would you do for love?" And I was like, "Carrie, look at her. She's the most beautiful woman on the planet." And it went downhill quick.
I was gonna say,
Because I had to explain to my wife that she's still beautiful, but she's not Natalie Portman. And I don't know why it just popped into my head, but see, that's what happens when you record on a Friday night. Anyways, can we move on to Mando chapter 15, The Believer?
Yes. So right in the beginning, they take you through. I think it opens on Bill Burr's character, whose name I can never fucking remember.
It doesn't matter.
It's Bill Burr.
It's Bill Burr. He acts like Bill Burr. He talks like Bill Burr. Like it's Bill Burr. Just in, like they just should have named him. They should have named him Burr Bill in the show.
Exactly. It's fucking Bill Burr in the Star Wars universe, and I never see anything but Bill Burr. It's Bill Burr. You're right. Thank you. Very validating. I thought that the whole time. It was like extremely distracting.
They could have called him Burr Bill.
dude,
Burble. Burble.
credits rolled. Nick looks at me. He's like, "I'm just disappointed because all I could see was Bill Burr." Like there were so many different points where it was just him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get this rant out off the top. Even his mannerisms, like I've listened to Bill Burr's podcast, I've listened to all of his stand up and things like that, and I forget some of the words he said, but his mannerisms were all Bill Burr. Like the "I'm just saying," the like his outlook on things was precisely him. Is like, hey, look, like it doesn't matter who's oppressing you, as long as they're oppressing you, then it still counts. Like, just go live your life, and as long as you can sleep at night, who cares? That's like exactly Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast to a T. That's his message all the time. So it was even the character itself wasn't unique. It was Bill, like precisely. I don't know if he was involved in writing the character. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he was, but it was like jarring to me because not only did I just see Bill Burr, it was him acting like himself in the show. So the whole thing like took me totally out of immersion the whole episode. I don't know if either of you felt like that.
No, it didn't take me out of the immersion because I enjoy it. But can we just do a sidebar real quick?
Of course.
Does Joey have the Last Supper, but the people sitting at the table are
Dragon Ball
Dragon
Z
Ball
character?
Z?
Yes, he
I
does.
do. They are
Wow.
eating ramen. Where did this come from?
Because I took a video of
He took
the
a video.
room.
Wow.
Oh,
Anyway, so all right, so moving on. So back to Bill Burr. It doesn't bother me because I like his character. I just call him Bill. Whatever, they're like, we're looking for an Imperial. And I was like, oh, they're looking for Bill.
Yeah.
Perfect. But, I will say, okay, and what I don't what I feel like the show, if I can be one negative thing about the whole show, is I feel like the show is almost predictable. So like every season, so we're in season 2, so there's a jailbreak episode of some sort.
Yep.
There's a, like the tragedy that's going to happen. Then there's going to be they're setting up the final thing, and next episode they're building the team to go get Moff Gideon, and then the final episode is the grand finale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so it's almost following like a typical season.
Right.
Um,
A formula, if you will.
yes, but anyways,
Formula that works. So like,
no, I agree. I'm just
okay,
saying.
it started going down a path where I saw people just saying, it was bad. We didn't like Bill Burr. It wasn't immersive.
Oh no, I get the negative out off the top, and then I explore all the fun stuff that I enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's I enjoy his character because it's like a breath of fresh air in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I kind of liked how, and we're not gonna follow like how the whole show went, but like when he was in the thing, he's like, "Look it, dude, just take out, like, don't worry, put your mask on. I never saw your face. I got your back." You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. That was
It was,
a
like,
nice
realistic.
moment. Yeah, that was like a nice moment. Like, dude, I understand why you did it. I get why you did it. Don't worry, I never saw your face. It's over. You know what I mean? But something that's really interesting to me is they scanned his face.
Right.
That was such a huge moment. I'm gonna geek out a little bit right now, okay? Because when you go back to the first season, and this is a little bit of a tangent, I'm gonna go on. I apologize.
Go for it.
So the only person that knew the Mandalorian's name was Moff Gideon. Called him out right there. He was like, "I know you're in there, Din. Like, I know it's you." This boy gets his face scanned and then pulls the coordinates for that Star Destroyer. Don't tell me that is not going to show up somewhere.
That's a good point. Now they're gonna know that it was Din, and know what his face looks like, because he's gonna go back and say, okay, who like looked up the coordinates for my ship once they get attacked, and he's gonna know it was Din. That's a great point, Feta. I hadn't considered that.
I don't know what's going to come of it, but nothing good is going to come from him taking off that helmet.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Even if he wears the armor for forever now, I still believe that it's definitely going to come back to bite him, because now his face is going to be scanned, and people are going to be able to, like, they'll be able to post that picture everywhere. So it's almost like he's killing his secret agentness, because as a Mando, you walk in as a Mando, like, people are looking at you.
Right.
If he walks in without a mask, now people are going to know who he is, because he's going to be on like America's Top Most Wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I thought the pirate sort of raiding sequence action scene was kind of cool. Like the Mando didn't have any of his weapons, and he could still like beat him up.
So they called them pirates, but I don't think they were pirates. I just think they were the
locals?
the locals, and they didn't want them mining that shit in their world, because it creates toxic environments, and they were just trying to stop them from delivering it, to try to get them to stop doing it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think you're right there. They did look different than the locals that they drove by, though. They were like all of a different species. But I think your point still stands. What else did you guys like from the episode?
Can we take a minute? Let's all take a deep breath.
Okay.
Let's talk about that paint job.
I know! On Boba Fett's armor.
Boba Fett got a glow up, dude. Oh,
Well,
my goodness.
I agree, and he went to Daisy Doos and got himself done up well.
Boy went
But
to the salon. Oh, my
yeah,
gosh.
for sure. That's what I'm saying. And what I liked about it is he's been waiting so long to get his armor back, and he was just like, "This needs a paint job." So he probably sat in the ship and did his shit up right. The other thing I wanted to say is, it almost looked, because it was clean, it almost looked like it fit him better. So maybe
no
like
beer belly.
no
beer
I'm not
belly.
saying, yeah, like maybe like they didn't modify the armor, but like definitely the cleanup of it made it look really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
He went to Men's Warehouse. Ultimately,
Ha.
is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Through and through.
But if we're gonna talk about that, he dropped a seismic mine on those two.
Ties.
Dude, that was the
Audible
great.
gasp. That was fantastic.
Yeah, like what they're doing for the fandom right now. I know everybody always hated Attack of the Clones. I still think that was one of the best movies. Yeah, it had like the stupid love parts were
Yeah.
dumb, but like if you like take out the love parts, it was actually a really good movie. And like the CGI sucked, and that's the other part is like the technology wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
But
What
that
year
movie
did
was
that come
pretty
out?
legit.
It was a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Right.
Exactly.
No, when the seismic mine like happened, I think I literally like a complete and utter dork went, "Oh my god, that was so cool!" while we were watching, like under my breath.
Um,
That was epic. Where did we see a seismic mine before? That was like
Attack of the Clones,
okay, yep,
Yeah.
Jango Fett's.
That's the
yes,
only time we've ever seen it kind of drop, and it's like that one sound where it just
Mhm.
breaks the sound barrier and everything goes silent.
yeah.
That brought back so much nostalgia for me, and that moment I just kind of like was so present. I just love the Mandalorian. I don't know.
That was awesome.
Um, and then what do you guys think of? Is her name Cara Dune
Yep.
in the show?
First
What
off,
do you guys?
hot as hell. I'm sorry.
Well,
Uh,
don't ever apologize. It's not. Uh,
I don't think
Send
she's
me
all that
out to the
attractive.
wolves if you got to, but I don't know. Her portraying that character
Does it
is
for
just
you?
perfect, man.
I think I like the character. I think she's relatively quiet, and I think that's mostly due to the actress's like lack of traditional acting
I think it could be.
quality.
It could also be towards the character because she's a rebel shock trooper,
Right.
and at the end of the day, like what we know about shock troopers, they're not necessarily the most vocal people. They follow the protocol, and
They're
just based on,
essentially like rebel special forces, right?
exactly. You can attribute it to one of the parallels I draw. If you've ever played Halo, was
Mhm.
ODST.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Fantastic game. But that's the parallel I draw to her, kind of like that stoic being, but also plays such a key role that you can't really eliminate them from any sort of operation that you're going to go through.
Yeah.
But the way Cara Dune exists in this Mandalorian universe, just it's very strange to me because I can't put a necessary beat on the character because you thought originally that she was like an outlaw kind of doing her own thing, but then all of a sudden we get this new piece of information where she's a marshal for the Rebel Alliance or whatever, the New Republic, sorry. So she's kind of going back into that sense of order and away from this outlaw tendency that she was living prior.
Yeah, I guess I don't really understand her character in this, and maybe
That's why I love it.
because, yeah, well, I guess I'll see how it all goes as the time moves forward. Um, but I guess I just don't get her character, and maybe that's because she's so quiet and so reserved, and yeah,
You don't get like her motivations and like where she comes from. You mean Marcus?
yeah, exactly. Like,
The only sort of hint we have about her is that she's from Alderaan, and that really can seed the hate towards the Imperials and
I
why
think
she's doing anything to stop them.
I think part of the confusion could be stemming from that it's such a simplistic mindset. Like I hate the Empire, like you're saying, Joey, and I'm friends with the Mandalorian, therefore I'm going to help him through whatever quest he needs to get done. And on top of being a relatively quiet character with few lines and like it's anyways, I think that into combined with the simple motivations makes for a not flat but like linear character. You know what I mean? She's not undergoing any big character arc or
She's a
like
supporting character, like through and through.
yeah. Does that make sense, Marcus?
it does.
So it can make her sort of like I don't particularly. I'm not like looking at her going, "Oh my god, I'm pumped that she's in this episode." You know what I mean? I'm just like, "Oh, okay, like she's gonna help him fight." You know, she's not an overly dynamic character, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then the fact that Boba and Fennec
Mhm.
are with Mando all the time, um, it just makes me excited to see Slave One doing work and just flying around. I think, you know, all the people that said Boba Fett was nothing because like he didn't have many parts in the original
Right.
and in the Clone Wars he was like a little kid. So like they couldn't really like
Do anything with them? Yeah.
yes, like he was there and it shows like how he became a badass, but like th- Filoni and Favreau right now are making Boba Fett what he was supposed to be.
Yeah. Boba Fett is getting the treatment like um, Darth Vader got in Rogue One. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where you like actually get to see him in action, which is cool. Even though he was mostly just flying around and then dropped the seismic mine on everybody. I think it's just cool to see like him a little bit more fleshed out and like active, you know?
And he's our main character now. Like whether like honestly, even if he's here for just a couple episodes, like he's getting his redemption. But I have a feeling Boba Fett's going to be involved for the up until the end of season 3, because I don't know if this. I don't see this show going past season 3.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like this is a 3-season show. Um, because how much more can you do? You know what I mean? You're just telling a story.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I feel like this is going to be the middle. Now, I would like to see it if they did it like season 1 is like A New Hope, season 2 The Empire wins, season 3 is Redemption. I think I'd like to see that. You know, let us be in a cliffhanger with something not good happening.
I would like I agree. I think that would land very well and make people extremely excited for season 3. My only sort of trepidation is I would love to see like a bittersweet ending. Like I would if in my ideal world, here's what happens. Um Mando almost gets like Grogu back, and he kills Moff Gideon and gets the dark saber, but Grogu gets taken, and it's by like Admiral Thrawn's forces or something like that, and then he and Ahsoka join together to like fight Admiral Thrawn somehow.
See, I don't think Thrawn's going to be in this. I think this is the Moff Gideon story.
I think you're right.
I think the Thrawn mentioned is going to be what is coming in another show that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But my final thoughts on this episode is it was a great builder episode. I felt as if okay, I got excited. They gave me some fan service. I think you felt the one thing Bill Burr did for Burbill did in this episode, his character showed the pain of what the Empire does to people. And for that, like it was a good role for him this time because you saw the pain on his chest when that officer was talking to him.
Yeah.
That was
You know what I mean?
it was a very powerful moment, and just the tension that you could actually feel. It was done very well. So I'm just trying to echo exactly what you're saying. Like he,
Right.
as much as we kind of not really trash talk Bill Burr and his character prior to this, but that one specific scene really tied it together, and it was
No,
very dynamic for that character and the storyline in general.
I agree. I think I was the one trashing him the most, and in that moment, that he did a great job. The character, just like you said, that was his moment of like being dynamic, right? You see him in the previous episode, he's like all about me, all about me. Like, got to do what you got to do for yourself. In the before this, in this episode, same thing. He's mimicking that sort of thought process. Hey, oppression's oppression. No matter who it is, you got to do whatever you can do just so you can sleep at night, etc. And then he sees this and he goes, you know what? Fuck this guy. I'm killing him. We're shooting our way out of here. I don't give a fuck. This guy is wrong. You know what I mean? And it's like a switch to where like it's not only you're not going to do what's pragmatic, you do have a sense of morality. And then at the end of that scene goes, hey man, you know, don't worry about it. I never saw your face. Like it's all good. And he shows that he has that sense of morality. I thought that was a really cool moment too. I agree with you.
So human,
Yeah.
because you think about I don't know. This is me. I have my own bias as far as Imperials versus Rebels go. Imperials to me seem like machines. They're working towards one specific goal, and
Yeah.
that's a domination in a sense. But when you think about all these different people that kind of defect from the Empire and move toward something that they feel is a more powerful goal, whether that be freedom across the galaxy or, doing good and stopping oppression, this, that, the other thing, whatever happens,
Hmm.
you could almost see it in that character's face, what he went through, the essential, like, um, demise of that one. What was it? Operation Cinder? Something
Yeah, like
like that.
his whole division died
Exactly.
basically.
Like everyone died. So many indigenous people of that planet died. And then the other officer across the table is like, it's what's best for the Empire. They're going to come crawling back to us. And it just flipped that switch. It just completely set him off. And I don't know. I
It
don't
was a
know.
cool moment.
I could go on for hours, but you guys have lives.
It's quite all right. All right. With that, let's jump into the several Twitter bombs we got from this official Star Wars Twitter page yesterday. I guess I think I put the list in roughly chronological order, like how they tweeted them out. But the summary is they tweeted about a whole bunch of shows that are either in development or going to be in development, that would be coming to Disney Plus. Marcus, do you want to start us off?
Okay, so you got Rangers of the New Republic. It's set within the timeline of the Mandalorian show.
Beyond
I'm
that, I
guessing.
don't think we know a whole lot.
Well, if I had to assume, I'm guessing it's going to be like the Cara Dune.
Yeah. So my understanding is it's like her like her special forces unit essentially. If or maybe not literally hers, but like that same class. Oh, Joy, do you have clarification?
So Cara Dune is just recently joined the New Republic. So she's
Okay.
from the original rebellion.
Okay.
So she kind of separated herself. Again, here I am talking about Cara Dune.
Go
Um,
ahead.
so she separated originally, kind of went and did her own thing, and then recently joined the New Republic just based on her history. And this happened it was episode 4 or 5 where the New Republic officers that saved the Mandalorian from that nasty spider,
Yeah.
they kind of showed up and kind of tossed her the medal and said, "Hey, we need you."
Yeah.
So if we're talking about Rangers of the New Republic, I really hope that if it's set within the time of the Mandalorian, I would hope that it's separate from the events of the Mandalorian.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was thinking yeah, I have it confused. Clara Dune was a special forces
in the
person
rebellion.
in the rebellion, not the New Republic.
Uh-uh.
So this is going to be talking about like soldiers in the New Republic that just got established during the Mandalorian.
Yeah. So it's like when they start to take over and they start to kind of rebuild what I imagine was the old Senate.
Right.
So I mean I don't know what kind of direction that's going to take. It could be anything. It could be trying to hunt down different settlements or whatever control points that the Empire still has, where they still have a really good kind of presence.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in this, but I'm interested to see like other non-force wielding people. I like any of the non-force wielding shows, or that idea.
And how much of this whole series is going to involve the First Order? How close is it going to be to Kylo Ren? Is he going to be involved?
That's a good point.
I do not know.
I do not either. Moving right along to, I think I would. Oh man, I am excited about a bunch of these, so it's hard to like categorize which I'm most excited for. But I'm pumped about this show. It's going to be called Ahsoka, starring Rosario Dawson, who also plays Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, and it's set within the same timeline of The Mandalorian. So here's where I think, and I know Marcus agrees with me. Here's where I think Admiral Thrawn is going to be the big bad, and we're probably not going to see him as much as I'd like to in The Mandalorian. Marcus, how do you think this show is going to go?
Well, we knew it was going to happen, right? I didn't think they were going to give a movie. I didn't foresee a movie, but maybe. I just think they laid the plot. They found the Jedi. She says she wasn't going to train Grogu, so and they mentioned Thrawn. So it's going to be the story of Ahsoka trying to find Thrawn, which in turn is maybe trying to find Ezra. Um,
Right.
are the things that I've heard. I'm excited that Ahsoka is one of the most popular Star Wars characters ever,
I know.
and that uh, Rosario Dawson did a fantastic job with her in live action.
Mhm.
It was a little weird for me because the voice wasn't the same.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm excited that we're going to get another. We're going to get more Ahsoka. They're going to flesh out. I hope they go backwards in time and they like what she was feeling like when the Empire happened, and after that point, I hope there's some time there. I'll be curious to see what they do with that character and how she, what kind of ship does she fly? Who are her friends? Like, who's she going to dig up from the past that we're going to be excited to see? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
there's a lot of different elements that are unknowns that, Captain Rex. We going to see Rex?
Oh my goodness.
Rex would be cool, or even like some Rebels characters. Selfishly speaking, I know I just finished the series. Like Captain Harrison Dula would be cool, or like I don't
Yes,
know
all of them.
any of the Rebels cast.
Sabine.
Basically.
Like, what about Sabine?
Sabine.
I get Sabine. Oh my gosh.
I
Sabine
see. I
has to be a part of it. If it's
know.
not, they did it wrong, in my opinion. Hot
I
Right.
agree.
Well, yeah. So, and then we move on to Andor, which is following the Cassian Andor. Now, this is one of them that they're saying that is coming to streaming in 2022.
Hmm.
Um, so it sounds to me like
It's
this is
basically
going.
done.
Well, it's basically done, but it's going to start right after Mando is over.
Right.
I feel like okay, you enjoyed the Mando season. The next season of show will be Andor.
Are you talking like you're not talking timeline specific to the Star Wars universe. You're talking just in general, like people
No,
consuming
like
it,
so next year's 2021. That's season 3 of Mando.
and
Let's say Mando's over. Andor's going to be the next show to follow it.
okay, all right.
I see what you're saying.
I have my own hot takes when it comes to Andor.
But I will say before I just want to finish my point on Andor. Um, I'm looking forward to that because, believe it or not, Rogue One is probably my okay. It's probably my favorite Star Wars movie as a movie, but it's not my favorite of all of them. But I loved the movie because it meant so much to me. Like that movie means so much because if it wasn't for Jin Urso and Cassian Andor and Rogue One, it would never have
Nothing
like
would have happened.
nothing would have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
that's
and
dust.
I was listening to I don't know what podcast it was, and they were talking about the Rogue Squadron. Um like Rogue Squadron wouldn't be Rogue Squadron if it wasn't for them calling that Rogue One. And
Exactly.
Rogue One will never be a ship again. So, you know what I mean? Because forever Rogue One is Rogue One.
Right.
And if it wasn't for them, this would have never happened. So I'm excited for the Andor show, and it's going to and I hope they show the dark side of the rebellion.
Oh
Right.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you got to go kill this guy. Why do I have to kill this guy? Well, because we don't like him.
Right. He's working against the the
Right.
rebellion.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we need to get rid of him. Yeah, sure. Like I've done things that I never questioned, but
What I did for the rebellion is I think is
correct.
the line.
Right.
Um,
What do you guys think for it?
I'm super pumped about it. Like similar to you, Rogue One was one of my favorite Star Wars movies ever. And Joey's exasperated over there. He thinks the
I
same thing.
Rogue One had me in actual tears. I saw it in theaters 3 separate times and cried every single time. That to me is the epitome of what Star Wars needs to be. It's not a happy story. It's not a sad story. It's a story of somebody fighting for something they believe in, somebody that's willing to lay it all on the line for a greater cause. That whole change, that whole God, I'm not gonna go there. I'll leave it alone.
Joey's ready to cry now.
I'm tearing up. You can hear it in my voice. We're already at what, like an hour and 15 minutes into this.
Yeah.
Call me next week when you want to spend 4 hours talking about Road One. That is by far my favorite Star Wars movie. Say what you want. Disney ruined it. Blah blah blah. That story
Well,
filled in the gaps that we needed to fill.
I agree.
Because when you look at A New Hope, like, where did they get the Death Star plans? Boom, there it
Rogue One.
was.
I agree.
many Bothans lost their lives.
Right.
I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me, man.
Well, I will agree that it filled some holes, but it was a really good hot take, and a hot movie, and I loved it. Everybody's down on Disney because they did a terrible job with the sequel trilogy because it wasn't thought and planned. But I believe Disney really screwed up because they got greedy. Because like the Solo movie was good. The Solo movie was good. It was
I
fun.
didn't like Solo, but
Yeah, but it was fun.
It
But
was
it was
fun.
because they released it, 5 months after Rogue One, and because they were just trying to make as much money as they could, and they realized that they can't do it. Anyways, moving on. The one big drop that I kind of liked, I was expecting a little bit more, was the reveal of the Obi-Wan logo.
Yeah.
I was expecting a trailer
I
or just
know.
showing like Ewan McGregor in a robe standing on Tatooine. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Like,
they haven't shot anything yet.
it's like
oh,
brand new.
I thought they already shot stuff.
No,
No,
they just
they just
it's
released the
just
cast.
they just said that they are going to start filming in Boston, and I thought it was Boston, Massachusetts, and a lot of people did. And remember we were going to go up there,
Yes.
but then we realized it's Boston, UK, so we would have ran to Boston, Massachusetts for no reason.
Old Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so I guess I misunderstood how it was. I thought they already started. So realistically, the Obi-Wan show is probably not coming until 2023.
If I had to guess, yeah, probably something like that.
I think I heard 2022, late 2022.
I hope so.
Well, that's
People
two
come back
shows in a year. And honestly, like, I don't know, unless it's like an animated and one live action. I don't believe there should be two shows going at once.
Well, who's working on Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because if we're talking like Andor, and you said that was coming out 2022, right?
Well, that's what it says.
Yeah.
They announced that.
Things change, but I don't think that the same team is working on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like Dave Filoni. I don't know what the involvement
Well,
is.
Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are in charge of Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
if it's TV shows, I'm pretty sure those guys are in charge. They're making all of the decisions.
I know for a fact that they are working on Ahsoka, like flat out. That is who they created as a character back in Clone Wars, So they are focused on that. But to be honest with you, I'm making a lot of baseless claims as far as Obi-Wan Kenobi goes, because that is the one not the one I'm most excited about, but it's up there just because of the cast that was released. You got Ewan McGregor coming back. You've got Hayden Christensen coming back. How on earth could you expect me to sit here and be quiet about this?
Well, here's the other question, I guess. Okay, so Aiden's coming back.
That I am so pumped about.
Well, so hear me out on this.
So
I'm super excited, but like, is Darth Vader and Obi-Wan gonna fight? So because like when he sees him on the Death Star, he's like, I felt a presence that I haven't felt in forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be two hot take, two parallel stories. because it says it takes place 10 years after
Revenge of the Sith.
Sith. You know,
Yeah, because if he knew Obi-Wan was alive, he would have hunted him with the Inquisitors.
quick, he would be gone.
Right.
And why Tatooine would be the first place you'd look? Let's be real here.
I don't know.
I don't know. Why would he look at
No?
Tatooine?
Well, I don't know about
That's where he's
Tatooine,
from.
but like,
That's where
I-
Vader is from.
That's where
Yeah,
Anakin's
but-
from.
yeah,
but
but why would he do
Obi-Wan's
it?
not from Tatooine.
No,
Right.
but I don't know.
well, either way,
Rim, it's questionable.
unless it's going to be like timelines, but it's in my opinion, but it's also going to be hard to show Anakin as young Anakin now.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to do a bunch of CGI for it. I don't know. I'm really curious to see what happens. But I feel like I hope they don't mess up the canon of it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And that's why like I'm excited for it. But to be honest with you, what I'm the most excited for is the stuff for the High Republic because it's all unknown. I don't want to say I'm over the Skywalker saga, but like I feel like every time they pack a show into that canon,
Yeah.
it something always gets messed up.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There can definitely be a sort of canon congestion if you're staying within the original trilogy, sort of, or like Skywalker saga timeline, for sure. I definitely so like if you want to jump around in the notes a little bit, I'd love to talk about another show I'm super pumped about, The Acolyte. That's set in the
Okay.
High Republic era.
Yes.
And like I really want to explore that because as much as I enjoy, like I made a point earlier liking the idea of a show where you're not focused on Force users, I really would like to also see more of a show where you have like lots and lots and lots, like an abundance of Force users, because then if tons of your characters have this ability, then it no longer becomes like, oh, you're the one special person or one couple special people that have this. So like it would be cool to explore the High Republic era, which I believe is like what 300 or 400 years before the prequels, essentially, where you have like thousands of Jedi and like not. I mean, I don't know what the Sith are doing in this time frame,
Rule
but
of two.
yeah, it's still that's all post Bane, so it's all rule of two. But you get lots and lots of lightsabers, right? So I think that's an interesting era to explore. To agree with your point, Marcus. Let's move on. Like go and start giving us stuff from the High Republic. But The Acolyte, the show that they announced, is going to be a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era.
I think. What if the Acolyte is Darth Plagueis?
I don't know if you heard of it. Joey's clapping.
Yeah.
That would be.
I muted my mic. That was fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's the only logical choice, right? So if you think about it, Darth Plagueis, Plagueis, whatever I call him, Plagueis.
Plagueis
He
is
was
fine.
he was
It
the
is
master.
That's what
He
they said.
he was the master in episode 1. He was still the master
Mhm.
in episode 1. By the end of episode 1, Palpatine killed him. Palpatine became the master, right?
Yep.
So they're saying that this is at the end of the High Republic era. So now
It's about
is that
Menace time.
right? So I'm thinking that the Acolyte is going to be young Plagueis, and I think it's awesome because we all want a dark side story. And honestly, this dark side story could be the most popular Star Wars show ever made.
Yeah.
People wanted like a Darth Vader story, but I think they're again moving on from those stories and going backwards.
Yeah.
I'm excited because it's going to be a mystery thriller, which means it's just going to be like corruption and deceiving, what the Sith were post Bane.
Yeah, I would love to be for it to be like a Game of Thrones style show, in the sense that not in this fantasy sense, in the sense that like you might have like a main cast of characters and they're all dying, and like there's no one is safe. It would be cool if this is getting real tinfoil hatty, and then we can move on to the next point. if you think one character's the acolyte and you have more than one Force users that are the main focus of the show, and they die, and you realize the show is actually about this other person the whole time,
Yeah.
that would be pretty epic. Like if Plagueis is there and maybe you don't know his name or something, that could be a thing, right? Like, don't you have one name and then when you're a Darth you get something else?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, like
No.
like
No. You get when you
I-
become a Sith. If your name is Nick and you become, you become a Sith acolyte, or just go into the Sith Academy to become a Sith, they give you a new name.
oh, that's
So
true.
so you're going to be, you could be go from Nick to Behringer, and then
Yeah.
when you become a Lord, you're Lord Behringer or
Or
Darth
Darth
Behringer.
Vader.
You know what I mean? Um, you they don't change your name once you hit the maximum.
Right. Okay. That's a good point.
Okay, yeah. So, like, if we're gonna go back to it, like, the actual definition of acolyte is anybody that's kind of assisting a specific religious order, I guess you could say it. You know,
Yeah.
so it would only make more sense that it was Plagueis. Because
Well, I think, yeah, and it's
well,
season one is going to be this kid that nobody knows about, and season two they're going to drop that it's Plagueis,
That'd be
or they
cool.
just leave it a mystery.
it's just got to be somebody that's so key to the Sith. If that's the route they're going, it has to be someone so key to the Sith that they become that essential archetype of what you want a Sith Lord or whatever you want to call it be.
Yeah,
That's
um,
just by the title of the entire series.
Right.
for sure. Another one that I'm really looking forward to, in I like the way they delivered it. So there was this woman skating, and clearly you could hear like planes in the background, and she was just skating through like a runway. When she lands on her car and says, "Hi, I'm so and so," I forget her name, and
Patty,
I am, huh?
Patty Jenkins.
Yes, thank you. And she's like, "My dad was a fighter pilot, and I've always wanted to do this, and now like I'm getting the best of two worlds." And she puts on the X-wing helmet and walks towards an X-wing, and I was just like, "Whoa!" And originally I thought it was going to be another show. It's not. It's going to be a full feature film.
Full goddamn movie.
Oh, I didn't realize Rogue Squadron was going to be a film.
Feature film directed
Yeah.
by Patty Jenkins, who did Wonder Woman.
Oh
Right.
shit. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the guy with the X-wing tattoo. Like, I am the most excited about Rogue Squadron. You
That's
cannot
epic.
get more excited than I am.
Right. And what I've understood from it that I've read, and now that I have no idea if this is true, it's going to be based off a squad of people who are new cadets coming to the New Republic.
Oh,
Ugh.
that would be fantastic.
Or the New Republic or the Rebellion?
The Rebellion. Rogue Squadron.
Well,
It has to be.
well, I'm not sure. I can't answer that because I don't know that. Um, the last one that I am,
5.
I'm really excited for one of the animated shows, but I'm going to leave that one for last.
Okay.
A droid story. I don't know if it's going to be a film, a TV show, but I personally love, like, R2D2 is my favorite character,
Yeah.
and I am excited for it. I hope it's like the Droid Tales on Disney, that I watch with my kids, because it's super lighthearted. It's an awesome animated show. The kids love it, and it's just a feel good show because the droids always just want to do good, and whatever their programming is, and they're always I don't, not survivors. That's not what I'm trying to say. Shit, it's hard for me to explain what droids do. They don't quit. You know what I mean?
They're essentially servants. Like, I don't know. You talk about all this different stuff that droids have gone through, especially in the transition to where, where I assume the consumer is now in the kind of time period of the Mandalorian after whatever the droid movement was called. I forget. Anyway, but like to kind of highlight your point, droids have always been there. They've been the workhorses. They've played such a key point in all of these different things that we love. So it would be fantastic to see that droid story of what they actually go through.
Right.
What else is coming, Nick?
We've also got an anime, like Japanese art style version of a Star Wars story called Visions, and that's all we know about it so far. That it's going to be an animated show, obviously, drawn in more of an anime style, and called Visions. I don't know.
Do you remember what was that other show that it only lasted like 2 seasons? Um, it wasn't Rebels. It wasn't Clone Wars. There was another one. I forget the name of it. It was about fighter pilots, and there was a gold stormtrooper.
I don't remember this.
Did you dream this, Marcus?
No, it's a real show. Um,
Well, take your time. I have a different comment to make.
Alright.
I remember. Do you know the 2D, not the 3D animation, but the 2D Clone Wars movie
yes.
or TV show? That
Yes.
was not quite an anime style, but it was almost drawn like Samurai Jack.
Yep.
I thought that was cool too. So I'm interested to see like what an anime style Star Wars show would be like. But also, it'd be cool to see like not only the art style, but like the sort of emotional style and like not emotions, but like yeah, Joey gets what I'm trying to say. Like the expressions would be like anime, or like
The whole
the
environment.
the environment and buildup is like an anime show is very unique in its presentation of characters. So having someone like be, most animes have superheroes anyways with like superpowers. So to have like a Force user in an anime show would be really cool to see how that's like presented.
Right.
Backtracking a quick section.
The show is called Star Wars Resistance.
Okay.
Oh,
It was
okay.
only 2 seasons. That was in my opinion, that was more of an anime style.
Artwork.
Yes.
Let's see. Droid Story, Road Squadron, Visions. You want to talk about Lando?
Who doesn't want to talk about Mr. Mustache?
Mr. Mustache himself. But they just said that hey, they're gonna make a series following Lando Calrissian coming to Disney Plus at an unknown time frame. That's pretty cool. I would enjoy that.
I hope it's young Lando.
Yeah.
Like
You know what I mean?
Solo
Like
Lando or
yeah, like Solo Lando, like that timeline.
Yeah. Like,
Even before or even the Lando before that when he had the Falcon.
yeah.
Ooh.
That'd be
You know what I
cool.
mean? Like
Yeah.
for me, that would be sweet. I don't think they're gonna do a Lando show with old, like real Lando with his, daughter at the end of, Rise of Skywalker. I think he might be too old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
I
Anyways,
would
and
love
then
to see.
go ahead.
Sorry, I don't want to like drag this on. I would love to see how Lando and Han Solo kind of like meet. Because there's always sort of this like feeling of nostalgia when the two of them are together. Like they've been through a lot, they've done a lot of different things, but even with Solo, I feel like there was more before that. You know, like
Yeah, it could be.
they still
Well,
had
yeah.
a history before Solo took place.
But but they have to, in my opinion, they need, the shows need to be standalone. That's why maybe when he has the Falcon, it'll work. Maybe his adventures. I don't know, and it just depends on, is it going to be an animated show or is it going to be a live action, and is it
Right.
going to be Danny Glover? That's the little Danny Glover. That's the
Donald Glover.
actor.
Donald.
Oh, Donald. Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny Glover's the old guy with the mustache.
yeah, yeah. Is it going to be Donald Glover? You know what I mean? Like I'm not really sure, but I guess these are a ways away.
Yeah.
But then the big one.
Oh wait, one more real quick, and then the big one. So there's Willow, an original series starring Warwick Davis, pilot directed by John M. Chu. I did not realize who either of those people were. Full disclosure. Warwick Davis. I don't super duper know his previous work, but it's just an interesting show. I don't know anything else about it. But
Wait. I thought Willow was like a Marvel character.
oh, I thought it was in the Star Wars universe. If it's a Marvel character, that makes more sense that I don't know anything
They
about the
dropped a
show.
couple of things that aren't necessarily Star Wars, like Indiana Jones got dropped.
Oh, that's true. I skipped over that. Yeah.
Yeah, Willow is a Marvel character.
Okay, that makes me feel way better that I don't know anything about it. Anyways, back at the ranch, the big reveal that we were waiting to talk about. If you're a fan of the Clone Wars series at all, then you'll know who the Bad Batch is. They're making a whole show all about our favorite clone troopers, the Bad Batch.
I'm on the hype train for this.
Dude, oh man, you're talking
You know
to
what?
somebody who just freshly watched the Clone Wars and is still like really working through it. The Bad Batch is incredible.
I love that whole series with them. I think Joey and I just watched it last week before we watched The Mandalorian, or maybe afterwards. We were eating or something.
We were eating
and
Chinese food and watching the Clone
Clone,
Wars.
yeah, and it was the Bad Batch episodes.
Yeah, I'm excited because you're going to get the nostalgia back from the Clone Wars, and they're going to have moments where they're going to have tie-ins to whoever. So and it's going to be good, and even if it's just one season, or the thing is, it can be one season or it can be 10 seasons because show could go on forever because there's so much Clone Wars content. And the other thing, how cool would it be is if one of the episodes is they're on the same planet as Kenobi and Anakin, but Kenobi and Anakin don't even know that they're doing all the work to make things happen, and they hightail it out of there, and then Anakin and Obi-Wan think they're the best because they got it done when they really didn't get it done.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I mean,
I can imagine that.
That could be considered Jedi's as a whole, if we're really talking about Clone Wars. They were kind of forced into this role of commander when they don't really know wartime.
That's a good point. And then the clones did all the work, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, great, it worked out."
Okay.
Like I'm not going to dive into this rabbit hole, but if you look at Jedi and the whole kind of basis around the religion, if you want to call it, it's based on peace, and everything we've known about Jedi is war. So, like, where do the clones fall in this? Like, how does it really impact them? And one of the key quotes that I remember from Clone Wars is that I forget who said it. It was probably Rex or Cody, but um, like the clones have mixed feelings about the war because they wouldn't exist if it didn't happen. So the Bad Batch is just gonna be awesome, no matter what. It's gonna be fantastic.
Okay, final segment. And there was a deep discussion in the Working Class Nerd / Marcus B814 Discord. And I have to ask you guys this question.
Okay.
Is / was Palpatine evil?
Oh,
Joey, you can go first if you want.
I need a minute to process that question.
So, I can speak on it. So, I guess it depends on your definition of evil, right? Like,
Well, no. It's your definition of Palpatine. Yours, not how we define it. It's do you, Nick, think Palpatine is evil or was evil?
I can. So, in short, yes, I think he was evil. And that goes to I can sort of articulate my definition of evil if you'd like. So, who do you think of as like evil people in the world, right? It's often dictators who will do like Hitler or Mussolini or Stalin or something like that, right? Like genuinely evil serial killers, evil people. And what sort of attributes do they have? They're like all of which all of those people will do whatever it takes to accomplish their goal, no matter how it affects other people, so long as it accomplishes their goal, right? And particularly, they will opt for the screwing over or killing other people sort of pathway to achieve their goal, so long as it gets done.
Psychopath.
Yeah.
I believe
So
that's the word.
yeah. So in that sense, if that's your definition of evil, Palpatine is without a doubt an evil person and has evil intentions. He wants power. He wants to be the greatest, most powerful being, regardless, light side, dark side, doesn't matter. He wants to have all of the power and be immortal and rule over everything in existence, no matter how he gets to it. And because of he doesn't care how he gets to it. That's why he trended towards the dark side of the Force, because that's a more straightforward path to immediate power, if that makes sense. So because of that, I think he's decidedly evil. But I could kind of understand other people's arguments saying, I'd imagine I didn't read the Discord, full disclosure, but I'd imagine some folks might argue that he just wants power, and that doesn't necessarily make him an evil person for wanting power or something to that effect. Joey, what do you think? I don't know if I stole all your points there, but
No, not entirely. Like, obviously, I'm going to go into the deep philosophical background of what evil is. And you kind of touched upon it based on kind of how you achieve something.
Yep.
In my opinion, Palpatine, as he exists, is completely power hungry. That's all he does. But in a sense, you see how he goes about it, playing with people's emotions, especially when you go to the Anakin Vader situation where he sees that he's in love with Padme and it kind of appeals to that whole sense of him wanting to protect her, to prevent
Mhm.
her from death, and whatever you want to say about Revenge of the Sith and how that ultimately ends up, he
Yeah.
becomes what she doesn't want, and she just gives up her will to live. But I'm gonna agree with you, Nick, that Palpatine is evil, but that's just because of the method he uses
Mhm.
to kind of bend people and manipulate them into thinking they're doing the right thing, when in reality it's just his kind of game. So
Yeah.
the old saying is, you're playing chess while I'm playing, or you're playing checkers while I'm playing chess.
Mhm.
Is Sheev in general, and to have all these twists where he's really behind it, and he was behind Snoke, and if you want to bring in the Disney trilogy, kind of like he was pulling the strings to bring in my sort of Legion aspect of it, because that's one of his command cards. If you've ever played Star Wars Legion, it's
It's
pulling the
pulling
strings.
the strings.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, so he is the mastermind behind not only the Empire but the First Order, um, and the death and destruction that follows isn't necessarily a result of him. So, can you really attribute all of that to Palpatine in general? That's the bigger question.
Right.
Because he makes people think that they're doing the right thing, but he doesn't necessarily. Actually, that I'm gonna go back, because he executes Order 66 and like pushes for the death and destruction of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, I've had too many bourbons.
So your point being, like, because he directly wanted to kill people, that makes him evil.
Well, if you look at the definition of evil and what it means, it's different for every person you ask the question.
Okay.
You know, what is evil? Is evil harming another individual to get what you want, or is it like just generally having no consideration of what your actions do to others? You know,
Yeah, I see
does
what
that
you're
make
saying.
sense? It's like a really gray line, and that's one of the things that's interesting about that character, because he's portrayed as such an evil being, but we never get his side of the story. Playing devil's advocate here, because you're talking to a rebel fanboy.
Right. Well, I mean, you get his side of the story in the Darth Plagueis book, which is kind of what I'm referencing
Okay,
a little bit. And
I
it
haven't
is
read or listened to that, so that could be an eye
it's
opener.
quite a. I mean, I still said he was evil, having listened to that, and it's told from his point of view. But Marcus, what did you think?
I actually I can't answer it because for me it's just very it's a hard thing because I understand both sides of the coin, because deep down he just wanted peace and order.
I don't know about
And
peace.
well, he did, because when he took control there was peace.
Uh,
Like nobody messed around. Like
but he caused war. There was peace. And the separatists had their involvement. Was he trying to get rid of the separatists? I don't know, because he basically had Dooku
yes.
at his fingertips.
Yeah, but he was trying, it was all a manipulation to get rid of all opposition.
I guess.
Yeah, he knew he could.
So
I mean, he knew he
wait,
could best Dooku, and he
like
knew.
he was definitely evil in the sense of because he did mass killings and he was an evil person, but like deep down, he wanted peace in the galaxy.
I see what you're
And
saying.
and
Yeah.
he caused peace by being the emperor, and people were scared, and like it was a dictatorship, but at the same time, all he wanted was peace and order in the galaxy, and he got it.
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of oppose you in that statement that you just made. In that he didn't necessarily want peace; he wanted order. You know, because if you look at everything that we've seen, it talks about how the Empire has oppressed every single planet they've been in contact with. You know, the indigenous people absolutely hate the Empire. They're scared. They run into their houses anytime a stormtrooper walks by. You know, that is not peaceful in my definition of that word. It's definitely order. It's definitely conforming to a specific, goal that an individual has if they have that kind of control and that follower base that Palpatine has amassed over the years. But I don't think he really wanted peace. He just wanted the control, and the order is how he achieved it.
Yeah. I think just because he ends up with I mean, in reality, he doesn't actually end up with peace, right? There's still rebellions and things that happen all throughout his reign. But even if he did end up with peace in a traditional like not war happening sense, his ends do not justify his means of which in how he got there, if that makes sense.
And,
It does.
like, what is the end that he was trying to achieve? You know,
Like that's what I'm saying. Like even if you give him the benefit of the doubt and say, "Oh yeah, there was peace after he became emperor and conquered everything, and all the empire was peaceful," which I disagree. I don't think that was the case, and I think that both of you can say that that's not the case. But even if you concede that point, you still say like, okay, that how he got there is not it's not justify the end result of peace. So in that case, I think he's pretty wholeheartedly an evil person.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of
Working Class Nerds.